Now that's how you condense down a story arc. Oh wow, I just got back from seeing Haikyuu, the dumpster battle, in theaters. And that was really fucking good, holy shit. And I opened with that line because I've been on kind of a streak of stuff lately where it's just manga that is being crammed into too tight of a space to make it work. Most notable examples being Sengoku Yoko, which wasn't too bad, and Sailor Moon Cosmos, which was pretty not great in that regard. And a lot of people were very scared that that was going to happen with this movie because I think it condenses like 50 chapters into a single movie. So there were a lot of fears that it was going to just ruin the story that happens during this arc. Because, like, this is, from what I understand, I haven't read the manga, but I'm up to date on the anime for Haikyuu. This is, like, the big one. This is, and with good reason, this is Karasuno versus Nekoma. This is the big rivalry that has been building up for the entire series. So a lot of people were concerned that condensing it into a single movie, an 85-minute movie, by the way, so real short movie. They thought it was going to ruin the big emotional moments and stuff and the big hype moments. It does not at all. Now, I will say maybe the first set in this feels a little rushed sometimes, but it also does this thing where it kind of like recaps the like assets of all of the different Karasuno members and a little bit of the Nekoma members too. Like it does, it shows like, oh, Tsukishima's the blocker. It talks about the quick with Kageyama and Hinata. It shows damn it, I forgot what the libero's name was. It shows Asahi's like spiking power, like, and Yama something, the guy with that float serve. It does. I can't. Again, I haven't watched this since season 4 aired, so I was also afraid I'd be a little rusty on my Haikyuu, but I do think rewatching stuff before this film would help. Oh, before I forget, there is an after credit scene. So don't forget, if you haven't seen it yet, there's an after credit scene. Stick around after the credits. Not sure why you would leave during the Spy Air song. I thought Spy Air had broken up, but apparently not. Anyway, what was I talking about? Right, so, like, the first set does this clever thing of recapping everyone's, like, special thing. So I thought that was kind of cool, if a little bit kitschy, a little bit, I forget what word I'm trying to use here. But it does a good job of doing that. I would say only the first set is anything that feels rushed, because they must have just trimmed a ton of like subplots from this, probably with a bunch of the Nekoma guys. I'm only saying that because I know that they had to for all of that manga to fit into this small space, because you really don't notice it at all in the movie. What this movie is about is Kenma, the setter for Nekoma, and kind of how like his relationship to Hinata and his relationship to volleyball. He started the series off as a guy who's just like, oh, volleyball, it's just kind of a thing that I do. I don't really have a bunch of fun with it. I guess I'm just kind of good at it. And we see Hinata like pry that fun out of him as this film goes on. And also we see like Kenma really getting into Hinata's head during this. The way like Kenma is this like kind of genius setter. Like he's this very calculating strategy kind of guy. As opposed to Kageyama, who's just like a really good setter and really good at putting the ball in exactly where it needs to be. Kenma's like the more brainy kind of guy. And you really get to see like his strategy fleshed out in this film, and like see how he like just plots everything out and traps Hinata and traps the Libero, whose name I forgot, and like just starts, he's just fucking with Karasuno in these really interesting ways, and he's just like, we don't have to make a huge gigantic thing, we just need to shave off some points here, shaves off some points there, make them start fucking up here, make them start running into each other. It's so like dastardly, for lack of a better words, and it is just so fun to see. And despite now you would think that this would take a lot of inner monologue, and it does, but that never slows down the action either. I just talked about how it's not speeding through shit in the manga, like it's not rushing anything, but that by no means does that mean that this is any slower paced than Haikyuu normally is. It is so fucking hype and so constantly pushing forward. A lot of that is helped, of course, by Yuki Hayashi's soundtrack for this. It's been a while since I've seen just a straight hype soundtrack from Yuki Hayashi. I think it might be the last season of Haikyuu was the last time we really got that. Like, he is still the absolute best at that. Like, he started to branch out into more darker sounds with the more recent seasons of My Hero, and he started to go into some really fun, like, bouncy, happier sound, like cutesy sounds with his Precure stuff. But Haikyuu is like his just bread and butter, straight adrenaline hype soundtrack, and it's just as good as it's always been, and it keeps this film just moving forward constantly. Even in the points where it's like there are like constant flashbacks to Kenma's like as a small child throughout this film, and seeing him getting into volleyball and how his relationship with volleyball evolves as he interacts more with Kuro, and how he interacts with Hinata once he meets him. And those, it's like they're like perfectly placed moments throughout the film of him, of seeing Kenma, like how he starts and how he's progressing and then how he ends. It is just fucking so good. Just damn near perfectly paced character arc for this film, building on the foundation from the previous series. And we still get some great Karasuno moments too. There's like there's some fun moments with Tsukishima between him and Kuro, and Hinata has a really big moment in this too. It's just the way that they structured this film, they must have picked the absolute perfect moments from the manga to just streamline everything into this singular narrative that is just constantly... I was on the edge of my seat for like the last 30 minutes of this film. It was insane. Also because it's really damn solid looking too. Now, there's some quotes from like a Guardian article that's been floating around about this movie where it's like, it's no Studio Ghibli, but it's okay. And like, on the one hand, yes, I want to make fun of this review for not knowing anime, but also, the first 45 minutes to an hour of this film, it just looked like TV series Haikyuu, which is fine, because TV series Haikyuu is higher quality TV animation than most TV animation. But it really doesn't get that movie bump at all. It still has the great imagery, it still has the great shot composition, and compositing, and framing, and all that. The only time we really get like a holy shit moment in terms of just the raw animation was there's like a flashback montage of Tsukishima, And then there's like a back and forth involving him directly after that. That's like probably like a minute long or so. And I was just, it was fucking intense. Like, holy shit. There were some great animation moments in that. Conversely, nothing in this really looked bad except there's the big climactic emotional moment with Kenma. That happens. And then, like, there's a series of shots after that where it's like, ooh, those needed to be cleaned up a little bit. But that's pretty much the only parts of this movie that looked bad. Otherwise, it is TV quality Haikyuu or better. So, yeah. No need to worry about this film being rushed. It's fucking great. I'm gonna give this one like a decent 9. This was easily the best thing that I've seen so far this year. Just in terms of raw hype, just constant 80 to 85 minutes of hype, and with a really solid emotional through line to it. This is what Haikyuu does. I don't know if it's necessarily my favorite. It's close to being my favorite part of this series, if only for the fact that it was so brief that it might not have left. Well, this is something that I'll have to think about like 6 months down the line, because there are a lot of shots in this where I'm like, there are a lot of incredibly impressive shots in this too, like close-ups of Kenma and Hinata, and just the raw intimidation they are able to emit. Damn, this movie's fucking good. Easily the best anime I've seen so far this year. We'll see if anything else beats it. So that's it for now. I don't know what anime movie is next. Apparently the Blue Lock Nagi movie is coming out in the summer. They haven't said when yet. That was one of the trailers that aired before this. So maybe I'll see you get back again for that, or for something else. And don't forget to check out my seasonal wrap-up show series. I'm like almost finished with the winter season at this point. Well, I'm almost finished. The videos are still coming out, so on and so forth. But in any case, my name is Ember, and I'll see you next time.